In the heart of ancient Rome, during the chaotic 2nd century CE, there ruled an emperor unlike any other. While the empire faced plagues, wars, and rebellions, Marcus Aurelius, the last of what historians call the 5 good emperors, spent his evenings writing private notes to himself. These reflections, never intended for publication, would later become one of history's most profound guides to mental resilience: meditations. What makes Marcus Aurelius particularly fascinating is this contrast. A man with near limitless power who nonetheless struggled with the same negative thoughts that plague us today: anxiety, frustration, fear, disappointment, the entire spectrum of mental disturbances that can derail even the strongest mind. Yet Marcus developed a system built upon the Stoic philosophy he studied fervently to confront these negative thoughts. His approach wasn't to suppress them or distract himself with pleasures, as many of his contemporaries did. Instead, he faced them directly, dissected them with rational precision, and transformed them into opportunities for growth. Today, as modern psychology validates many Stoic practices through research on cognitive, behavioral therapy, and mindfulness, Marcus Aurelius' wisdom feels more relevant than ever. In a world where negative thinking drives anxiety disorders, depression, and a general sense of discontent, his ancient techniques offer a time-tested approach to mental freedom. This script explores how the emperor's wisdom can help us kill negative thinking, not through toxic positivity or avoidance, but through clear-eyed rationality and a profound shift in perspective. We'll delve into specific techniques from his writings, examine the philosophical foundations behind them, and explore how they can be applied to contemporary challenges. Part 1. The Stoic Approach to Negative Thinking. The Stoic diagnosis of negative thinking. Before Marcus Aurelius presents his remedies, he offers a diagnosis. For the Stoics, negative thinking isn't simply an annoying mental state. It represents a fundamental error in reasoning. Marcus writes, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This perspective forms the cornerstone of Stoic psychological theory. It isn't events themselves that cause our suffering, but our judgments about these events. The source of negative thinking isn't the world outside, but our own mind, specifically flawed reasoning about what truly matters. The Stoics identified several patterns of problematic reasoning that generate negative thoughts: catastrophizing, imagining the worst possible outcomes; personalizing, taking external events as personal fronts; overgeneralizing, seeing single negative events as never-ending patterns; demanding, insisting the world must conform to our preferences; emotional reasoning, treating feelings as accurate representations of reality. These patterns, which modern cognitive behavioral therapists have independently identified, create a cascade of negative thoughts that eventually feel automatic and inevitable. But Marcus recognized something profound. These thought patterns are neither automatic nor inevitable. They are habits, mental habits that can be identified, challenged, and changed. The Stoic method, not suppression, but transformation. A crucial distinction separates the Stoic approach from many modern attempts to combat negative thinking. Marcus doesn't advocate suppressing negative thoughts or replacing them with positive affirmations. Instead, he offers a method of transformation through rational examination. As he advises himself, the mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This concept, turning obstacles into opportunities, represents a radical approach to negative thinking. When anxiety arises, the Stoic doesn't attempt to banish it. Instead, they examine it closely, understand its origins, and transform it into wisdom. This approach aligns remarkably well with modern mindfulness practices, which emphasize non-judgmental awareness of thoughts rather than suppression. Both traditions recognize that fighting against negative thoughts often strengthens them. As Marcus writes, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing, insofar as it stands ready against the accidental and the unforeseen, and is not apt to fall." The Stoic wrestler doesn't flee from negative thoughts, but grapples with them directly, using reason as the primary tool for transformation. The ultimate goal: freedom from disturbance. For Marcus Aurelius, the purpose of combating negative thinking wasn't simply to feel better momentarily. The goal was much more profound: to achieve what the Stoics called apatheia, freedom from disturbing passions. This state doesn't mean emotionlessness, as is commonly misunderstood, but rather emotional resilience and stability. Marcus describes this state: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you'll find strength. This inner citadel, this mental fortress that remains undisturbed by fortune's changes, represents the ultimate aim of Stoic practice. It's not about never experiencing negative thoughts, but about developing the ability to view them from a distance, evaluate them rationally, and prevent them from controlling our actions. Modern psychology confirms that this approach, creating distance from thoughts rather than identifying with them, significantly reduces psychological distress. When we learn to say, "I'm having the thought that I'm a failure," rather than "I am a failure," we create space for rational reflection rather than emotional reactivity. Part 2. Core Techniques from Marcus Aurelius. Technique 1. The dichotomy of control. Perhaps the most foundational Stoic practice for addressing negative thinking comes from recognizing what Marcus calls the things in our power and things not in our power. This distinction, first articulated by Epictetus but embraced fully by Marcus, provides an immediate filter for negative thoughts. Marcus reminds himself, make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us. When we worry about things beyond our control, other people's opinions, past events, natural disasters, aging, death, we generate unnecessary suffering. Our anxiety doesn't change these realities. It only diminishes our capacity to respond effectively to them. Modern applications of this technique include the worry filter. When caught in a spiral of negative thinking, immediately ask, is this within my control? If not, redirect attention to what is. The response focus. For situations partly within our control, clearly distinguish between the uncontrollable circumstance and our controllable response. The circle exercise. Draw 2 circles. An inner circle containing everything within your control, and an outer circle representing everything beyond it. When negative thoughts arise, place them in the appropriate circle. Marcus demonstrates this technique repeatedly in meditations. Say to yourself in the early morning, I shall meet today ungrateful, violent, treacherous, envious, uncharitable men. All of these things have come upon them through ignorance of real good and ill. I can neither be harmed by any of them, for no man will involve me in wrong, nor can I be angry with my kinsman or hate him, for we have come into the world to work together. Here, Marcus acknowledges that he'll encounter difficult people, something beyond his control, while focusing on his response, which remains entirely within his power. Technique 2. Cognitive distancing through the view from above. One of Marcus' most powerful techniques for combating negative thinking involves deliberately shifting perspective, specifically adopting what philosophers call the view from above. This mental exercise requires imagining events from a vast cosmic perspective, seeing human concerns as tiny parts of an immense universe unfolding across enormous timescales. Marcus writes, think of the universal substance, of which you have a very small portion, and of universal time, of which a short and indivisible interval has been assigned to you, and of destiny, of which yours is so small a part. When we're caught in negative thinking, our perspective narrows dramatically. Problems loom enormously in our consciousness. The view from above reverses this distortion, revealing our concerns as minuscule parts of a vast cosmic order. Modern applications include the time scale shift. When facing a difficulty, ask how important this will seem in a week, a year, a decade, or a century. The population perspective. Consider how many others have faced similar challenges among the billions of humans alive and the countless more who have lived before. The cosmic lens. Mentally zoom out to see Earth from space, then our solar system, galaxy, and beyond, watching your problems shrink accordingly. These exercises don't trivialize genuine problems, but rather provide crucial perspective that prevents catastrophizing. As Marcus notes, to the universe, your life is an instant, to your body a brief possession, to your reason a great task, To your fortune, a small matter. To your fame, uncertain. Technique 3. Negative visualization. Premeditatio malorum. While it might seem counterintuitive to combat negative thinking by deliberately imagining negative outcomes, this practice, called premeditatio malorum, or premeditation of evils, formed a core part of Marcus' mental discipline. He writes, "Begin each day by telling yourself, 'Today I shall be meeting with interference and ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. Neither can I be angry with my brother or fall foul of him. For he and I were born to work together, like a man's 2 hands, feet, or eyelids.'" This practice differs fundamentally from anxious rumination. It's not about worrying over potential problems, but mentally rehearsing calm, rational responses to difficulties. By imagining challenges in advance, we reduce their emotional impact when they actually occur. Modern applications include the preparation pause. Before important events, briefly imagine potential obstacles and your ideal response to each. The gratitude contrast. Imagine losing something valuable, health, relationships, possessions, then return to present reality with renewed appreciation. The Stoic rehearsal. Regularly practice mental scenarios where you maintain equanimity despite significant setbacks. Research supports this approach. Studies show that defensive pessimism, constructively imagining potential problems and solutions, can reduce anxiety and improve performance, particularly for those prone to negative thinking. Technique 4. Objective description. Marcus frequently employs a technique of stripping situations down to their objective components, removing emotional judgments and dramatic interpretations. This practice disarms negative thinking by challenging the elaborate narratives we construct around basic events. He demonstrates this technique repeatedly. When you have savories and fine dishes set before you, you will gain an idea of their nature if you tell yourself that this is the corpse of a fish, and that the corpse of a bird or a pig. Or again, that fine Falernian wine is merely grape juice, and this purple robe is nothing more than sheep's wool dipped in the blood of a shellfish. The practice isn't meant to devalue experiences, but to see them accurately, without the distortions of excessive desire or aversion. When applied to negative thinking, this technique involves the bare facts test. Strip away interpretations and describe the situation in plain, objective terms. The language monitor. Notice emotionally loaded words in your thinking and replace them with neutral alternatives. The reality check. Ask what actually happened versus what story am I telling myself about what happened. Marcus applies this to his own negative thoughts. If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it. And it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now. By separating facts from interpretations, we reclaim tremendous power over our mental state. Technique 5. Memento mori, remembering mortality. Few practices are more characteristically Stoic than memento mori, the remembrance of death. Marcus returns to this theme repeatedly, not as a morbid obsession, but as a powerful antidote to negative thinking that stems from trivial concerns. He writes, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. And do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." This practice reorients our attention to what truly matters. When we remember our mortality, petty annoyances and social anxieties lose their power. The approach creates an immediate hierarchy of concerns. Is this worth the precious time I have remaining? Modern applications include the final day reflection. Begin each morning by briefly acknowledging this could be your last day alive, then asking what truly matters today. The epitaph question. When caught in negative thinking, ask, would I want this concern mentioned in my eulogy? The timeline exercise. Visualize your life as a timeline, noting how quickly time passes and how small current problems will appear in context. Research confirms that mortality awareness, when approached constructively, increases gratitude, reduces materialism, and enhances focus on meaningful pursuits rather than trivial concerns. Part 3. Practical applications for modern challenges. Applying Stoic wisdom to social media anxiety. Marcus Aurelius lived in a world without smartphones or social media, yet his writings offer profound guidance for the comparison-driven anxiety these technologies often produce. He observes, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it." The Stoic approach to social media anxiety involves several practices. Recognition of external validation as indifferent. The Stoics classified reputation and social standing as indifference, things neither good nor bad in themselves. Marcus reminds himself, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others." Objective description of social media content. When feeling inadequate after viewing others' curated highlights, practice objective description. These are selective images chosen from thousands of moments, edited and filtered to present a specific impression. The dichotomy of control. Clearly distinguish between what you can control, your content, your engagement time, and what you cannot, others' reactions, algorithmic promotion. View from above. Consider how insignificant social media metrics appear from a cosmic perspective, or even from the perspective of your life as a whole. A modern Stoic approach to social media might include regular digital fasts, scheduled usage times, and reflection questions before posting. Am I seeking external validation or expressing authentic value? Stoic remedies for workplace negativity. The modern workplace presents numerous challenges to mental equilibrium. Difficult colleagues, competitive pressures, bureaucratic frustrations. Marcus, who dealt with the complex politics of imperial administration, offers relevant wisdom. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, "The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil." This isn't cynicism, but preparation. A vaccine against the shock and reactive anger that workplace difficulties often trigger. Marcus' approach includes premeditation of workplace challenges. Begin workdays by briefly acknowledging that difficulties with colleagues or tasks may arise, preparing your mind to respond with reason rather than emotion. Focus on your role, not results. Marcus emphasizes focusing on performing your proper function rather than obsessing over outcomes. Do what nature now requires. Set yourself in motion if it is in your power, and do not look about you to see if anyone will notice it. The character test view. View difficult workplace situations as opportunities to practice virtue. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Objective description of office politics. Strip away emotional language when describing workplace conflicts, seeing them as natural human behaviors rather than personal affronts. Modern applications might include preparation routines before difficult meetings, regular reflection on the purpose of your work beyond status or advancement, and cognitive reframing of challenges as growth opportunities. Overcoming financial anxiety through Stoic principles. Financial concerns drive significant negative thinking for many people, whether facing actual scarcity or anxiety about future security. Money worries can dominate mental space. Marcus, despite his imperial wealth, maintained a simple lifestyle and offered perspective on material concerns. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. The Stoic approach to financial anxiety includes the distinction between needs and preferences. Marcus practiced distinguishing genuine necessities from socially influenced desires. If you seek tranquility, do less, or more accurately, do what's essential. Negative visualization applied to wealth. Regularly imagine having fewer resources, recognizing that happiness depends more on attitude than circumstances. Present moment financial awareness. Focus attention on current resources rather than future fears or past mistakes. Do not disturb yourself by picturing your life as a whole. Meet present needs by present thoughts. View material possessions objectively. Practice seeing possessions without emotional attachment. Just as you see your possessions, so you must look upon yourself as a herd of cattle or a heap of grain. Modern applications might include financial mindfulness practices, regularly calculating enough rather than pursuing endless accumulation, and periodic simplification exercises to reduce material attachments. Stoic solutions to health anxiety. Health concerns, from acute illness to chronic conditions to anxiety about future health, generate powerful negative thoughts. Marcus, who faced chronic health issues himself, wrote extensively about physical suffering. Pain is neither unbearable nor unending, as long as you remember its limits and don't magnify it in your imagination. The Stoic approach to health anxiety includes the dichotomy of control and health. Clearly distinguish between health factors within your control, lifestyle choices, treatment adherence, and those beyond it, genetic factors, certain illnesses. Objective description of physical sensations. Practice describing symptoms factually without catastrophizing. A sensation of pressure and heat in the chest, rather than, I'm having a heart attack and might die. View from above on the body. Consider the body as one small part of nature, subject to natural processes. Everything is but what your opinion makes it, and that opinion lies with yourself. Negative visualization about health. Regularly acknowledge mortality and the possibility of illness, not to increase anxiety, but to reduce its shock value when health challenges arise. Modern applications might include body scanning meditations focused on acceptance, regular reflection on mortality as motivation for health-promoting behaviors, and cognitive reframing of health challenges as opportunities to practice virtue. Part 4. The deeper philosophical foundations. Nature and reason. The twin pillars of Stoic resilience. To fully understand Marcus Aurelius' approach to negative thinking, we must explore the philosophical foundations that support his techniques. For Marcus, two fundamental concepts provide the bedrock for mental resilience: nature and reason. Nature in Stoic philosophy represents the rational order of the cosmos, the interconnected system governed by cause and effect. Marcus writes, all things are interwoven with one another. A sacred bond unites them. There is scarcely one thing that is isolated from another. Everything is coordinated. Everything works together in giving form to one universe. This view of nature as an integrated, rational system offers powerful medicine against negative thinking. When we see our difficulties as part of a larger pattern, we stop taking them personally. The rainstorm that ruins our plans isn't targeted at us. It's simply nature following its course. Reason, meanwhile, represents our distinctive human capacity to understand this natural order and align ourselves with it. Marcus emphasizes, constantly regard the universe as one living being, having one substance and one soul, and observe how all things have reference to one perception, the perception of this one living being. This philosophical foundation transforms our relationship to negative thinking in several ways. Natural processes include difficulties. Challenges aren't aberrations but natural parts of human experience, as expected as changing seasons. Rational understanding provides freedom. By understanding the causal connections behind events, we free ourselves from confused emotional reactions. Human nature includes the capacity for resilience. Our rational faculty gives us the unique ability to transform interpretations of events, even when we cannot change the events themselves. Modern psychological research confirms these insights. Recognition of natural cycles reduces the why me response to difficulty. Understanding causal connections diminishes catastrophizing. And recognition of our interpretive capacity forms the cornerstone of cognitive therapies. Virtue as the only true good, perhaps the most counterintuitive aspect of Stoic philosophy, yet crucial for addressing negative thinking, is the conviction that virtue alone constitutes true good, while everything else, health, wealth, reputation, falls into the category of indifference. Marcus expresses this view repeatedly. The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are. And if you work at that which is before you, following right reason seriously, vigorously, calmly, without allowing anything else to distract you, if you hold to this, expecting nothing, fearing nothing, but satisfied with your present activities according to nature, you will live happy. And there is no man who is able to prevent this. This perspective fundamentally reorients our relationship to negative thinking. If virtue, rational action in accordance with nature, constitutes the only true good, then external circumstances cannot harm our true good. Job loss, illness, or rejection might be preferred to avoid, but they cannot damage our capacity for virtue. Apparent problems become opportunities. Every challenging circumstance presents an opportunity to exercise virtue. transforming obstacles into occasions for growth. Success lies entirely within our control, since virtue depends solely on our choices, not external outcomes. Success in life's most important dimension remains always accessible. Modern psychology increasingly recognizes the power of values-based living, orienting actions around core principles rather than pleasant feelings or external rewards. This approach significantly reduces psychological distress by creating meaning even in difficult circumstances. The discipline of assent, the ultimate mental freedom. The philosophical concept that ties together all Marcus techniques for combating negative thinking is what the Stoics call the discipline of assent, the practice of consciously evaluating impressions before accepting them as true. Marcus describes this practice. Today, I escaped from anxiety. Or no, I discarded it because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside. And if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. This discipline represents the ultimate expression of mental freedom. The recognition that while initial impressions arise automatically, we retain the power to evaluate them before granting them control over our emotional state. Modern applications of this principle include the impression pause. When a disturbing thought arises, pause before responding to it emotionally, asking, is this impression accurate and helpful? The assent question. For negative thoughts, specifically ask, do I wish to grant assent to this interpretation or consider alternatives? The discipline journal. Record negative thoughts and practice explicitly granting or withholding assent after rational evaluation. Contemporary mindfulness practices mirror this ancient discipline, teaching practitioners to observe thoughts without immediately identifying with them, creating space between stimulus and response. Part 5. Integrating Stoic practice into daily life. Creating a personal philosophy of mind. Marcus Aurelius didn't simply apply Stoic techniques. He developed a comprehensive philosophy of mind, a coherent understanding of how thoughts arise, how they relate to emotions, and how they can be directed. For modern practitioners seeking to combat negative thinking through Stoic wisdom, developing such a philosophy proves essential. Components of a Stoic-inspired philosophy of mind include recognition of thought as interpretation. Understand that thoughts represent interpretations of reality, not reality itself. Acknowledgement of initial automaticity. Accept that initial impressions arise automatically based on past conditioning. Assertion of evaluative freedom. Recognize your capacity to evaluate impressions before granting them assent. Commitment to rational assessment. Develop standards for assessing thoughts based on accuracy, helpfulness, and alignment with nature. Marcus exemplifies this philosophical stance. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Developing such a philosophy transforms negative thinking from an unavoidable affliction to a comprehensible process we can influence through rational practice. Daily routines for mental resilience. Marcus Aurelius didn't combat negative thinking through sporadic efforts, but through disciplined daily practices. His meditations reveal several routines that modern practitioners can adapt. Morning preparation. Begin each day by acknowledging potential challenges and preparing rational responses. Say to yourself in the early morning, I shall meet today ungrateful, violent, treacherous, envious, uncharitable men. I can neither be harmed by any of them, for no man will involve me in wrong, nor can I be angry with my kinsman or hate him. For we have come into the world to work together. Evening review. End each day by examining your responses to challenges, identifying where negative thinking prevailed and how to improve. Allow not sleep to close your wearied eyes until you have thrice reviewed the actions of the past day. Where have I done wrong? What have I done? What duty remains undone? Beginning from the first, go through all, and afterward, reproach yourself for what evil you have done, and rejoice for the good. Regular perspective exercises. Schedule brief moments throughout the day to practice the view from above, objective description, or other Stoic techniques. Withdraw into yourself. It is in the nature of the rational, directing mind to be self-content with acting justly and thereby maintaining tranquility. Philosophical reading. Regularly engage with Stoic texts or modern interpretations to reinforce rational patterns of thought. Reading, I observe, is indispensable for keeping the mind free from the depravity which arises from becoming absorbed in the trivial things of life. Modern adaptations might include morning journaling using Stoic prompts, evening reflection practices, scheduled mindfulness moments, or regular engagement with contemporary Stoic communities and resources. The role of community in Stoic practice. While Marcus often emphasizes internal resources for combating negative thinking, he also acknowledges the importance of social support. We were born to work together like feet, hands and eyes, like the two rows of teeth, upper and lower. To obstruct each other is unnatural. For modern practitioners, community support significantly enhances Stoic practice. Accountability partners. Regular check-ins with others practicing Stoic principles helps maintain consistency during difficult periods. Dialectical refinement. Discussing negative thoughts with philosophically minded friends helps identify flawed reasoning more effectively than solitary reflection alone. Embodied examples. Witnessing others apply Stoic principles during challenges provides powerful inspiration and practical guidance. Compassionate perspective. Others often see our negative thought patterns more clearly than we can ourselves, offering valuable feedback. Modern Stoic communities, from local meetups to online forums, provide spaces where practitioners can share techniques, discuss applications to contemporary problems, and motivate continued practice. The progressive nature of Stoic development. A final crucial insight from Marcus Aurelius concerns the progressive nature of developing mental resilience. He acknowledges his own imperfection. Be not disgusted, nor discouraged, nor dissatisfied, if thou dost not succeed in doing everything according to right principles. But when thou hast failed, return back again. For those combating negative thinking through Stoic wisdom, this perspective offers several important reminders. Progress, not perfection. The goal isn't to eliminate all negative thoughts, but to respond to them with increasing wisdom. Recovery as skill. The ability to recover quickly from negative thinking proves as important as preventing it initially. Self-compassion as rational. Harsh self-criticism for imperfect practice contradicts Stoic principles of rational assessment. Continued growth through challenges. Each instance of negative thinking presents an opportunity to strengthen rational responses. Modern psychological research confirms the importance of self-compassion and growth mindset in developing new mental habits. By viewing setbacks as learning opportunities rather than failures, we maintain motivation for continued practice. Conclusion. The enduring relevance of Marcus Aurelius. Nearly 2,000 years have passed since Marcus Aurelius wrote his reflections by lamplight in military camps and imperial chambers. In that time, human society has transformed dramatically through technological, political, and cultural revolutions. Yet the human mind, with its tendency toward negative thinking, remains remarkably similar. We still catastrophize minor setbacks. We still ruminate on past mistakes. We still worry about futures that never arrive. And we still suffer unnecessarily due to flawed interpretations of events. This continuity explains why Marcus Aurelius speaks to us today with such remarkable clarity and relevance. His wisdom addresses not the superficial concerns of his historical moment, but the enduring patterns of the human mind itself. The Stoic approach he champions offers neither toxic positivity nor resignation to negative thinking. Instead, it provides something far more valuable, a method for engaging with thoughts rationally, transforming our relationship to difficulty, and discovering freedom in the space between stimulus and response. As Marcus reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. In a world increasingly dominated by algorithmic manipulation of attention, commercial exploitation of insecurity, and political cultivation of fear, this ancient wisdom offers a revolutionary message. Your mind remains your own. Through rational practice, you can free yourself from the tyranny of negative thinking, not by suppressing it, but by transforming it through the power of philosophy. The emperor who wrote for himself alone now speaks to millions seeking mental freedom. His message resonates not because he discovered how to eliminate negative thoughts entirely, but because he demonstrated how to live well despite them, and often through them. In doing so, he offers us a path not just to reduced suffering, but to genuine flourishing, grounded in reason and aligned with nature. As we navigate our own challenges, we would do well to remember his words. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Our negative thoughts, examined through the lens of Stoic wisdom, become not obstacles to happiness but stepping stones toward it. The barriers that seem to block our path forward become, when approached with philosophical insight, the path itself. Appendix. Key passages from meditations for combating specific types of negative thinking. For anxiety about the future. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Do not disturb yourself by picturing your life as a whole. Do not assemble in your mind the many and varied troubles which have come to you in the past and will come again in the future. But ask yourself with regard to every present difficulty, what is there in this that is unbearable and beyond endurance? For rumination about past mistakes. Do not be disturbed about the past, for it is gone, nor about the future, for it has not yet come. Instead, bring your mind to bear upon the present. Does another wrong me? Let him look to it. He has his own disposition, his own activity. I now have what the universal nature wills me to have, and I do what my nature now wills me to do. For feelings of inadequacy. Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about your neighbors, to wonder what so-and-so is doing and why, whether such and such is the case or not. Such things divert you from the study of your own self, which deserves your attention. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. For anger and frustration. When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger. How much more harmful are the consequences of anger and grief than the circumstances that arouse them in us? For fear of failure. Does the light of a lamp shine and keep its glow until its fuel is spent? Why then should your truth, justice, and self-control die out before you do? If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I shall gladly change. I seek the truth, which never yet hurt anybody. It is only persistence in self-delusion and ignorance that does harm. For feelings of meaninglessness. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do? Or is this what I was created for? To huddle under the blankets and stay warm. Remember that very little is needed to make a happy life. 4 self-critical thoughts. If any man can convince me and bring home to me that I do not think or act aright, gladly will I change. For I search after truth, by which man never yet was harmed. But he is harmed who abides in his error and ignorance. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. For social anxiety. I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others. It is in our power to have no opinion about a thing and not to be disturbed in our soul, for things themselves have no natural power to form our judgments. For feelings of victimhood. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love.